is Federal Employees Compensation Act. And so it is a part of Department of Labor, which is Office of Workers' Compensation Program. So there's a lot of kind of different names when it comes to workers' compensation. So one of the other, goals of the program is to return injured workers back to productive duty within their medical limitations as soon as they are medically able, and to monitor improvements in medical conditions so that they may ultimately return to their pre injury status. We also want to ensure the integrity of the workers' compensation program through financial and operational oversight. And then essentially, we are the liaison between the facility and Department of Labor. And Department of Labor has the final determination on your claim if they will meet the requirements for, if your claim meets, excuse me, tongue tied, meets the requirements of the claim. So, the forms you can file as an injured worker in the eComp system, which is it stands for Employees Compensation Operations and Management Portal. It is an electronic system where you can file all of these forms. So the OSHA 301, the CA1, which is a traumatic injury. And then the CA2 is an occupational disease. There's a CA7 for claiming compensation for any lost wages. And then the CA7 is the time analysis. So let's see. On the next slide, we're going to go over the two types of injuries. So there might be a delay in the slides. Nancy, are you able to advance them?
Yeah, it's just a little slow. Like I'm
Okay,
clicking, but it's
okay.
not
Sure,
going.
yeah, I know there's a delay. So the two types of injuries is a traumatic injury, which is a CA1. It's an injury that can be pinpointed to one particular work shift, like falling down the steps, for example. A CA2 would be a notice of occupational disease and claim for compensation. An occupational disease is a medical condition that's developed due to work activities performed over more than one work shift, such as repeated strain or stress over a longer period of time. So now we're going to go over what to do if you sustain an injury um, at work. In case of an injury, you want to notify your supervisor immediately. Even if you think it's a minor injury, you don't really need to see a doctor. Just notify your supervisor and let them know, right? So if you do need to get medical treatment, you can get that right away. So while minor injuries heal without treatment, a few result in serious prolonged disability that could have been prevented had the employee received treatment when their injury occurred. So there's nothing wrong with getting checked out. Employees are required to inform their provider that we will accommodate all light duty restrictions. You want to provide an updated restrictions to the supervisor and your HR specialist. You want to keep everyone informed about the medical condition and restrictions, and you want to follow all approving uh, leave procedures.
Thank you, Tony.
You got it? All
I
right.
got it.
All right.
My
We'll
apologies,
pass
everybody.
it over to Mallory. Thanks, Mallory.
Thank you. All right, the next slide, we'll talk about employee registration for eComp account. Before you can file your forms in eComp as an injured worker or employee, you must first register and create an eComp account. By doing so, this places you in control of your claim. This means you do not need to rely on your employer or supervisor to submit your claim on your behalf. This also allows the OWCP to communicate directly with you in a near real time basis. Now, before you can file forms in eComp as an injured worker or employee, you must first register and create an eComp account. Uh, by doing so, this places you in control of your claim. And I think I just repeated that. I apologize. See the active links on the next slide for the employee registration. This basically consists of basic information like your first and last name, your home phone number, email address, social security number, and your uh, government organization. Just make sure that the email address that you use, um, it is preferably one of a personal email address. Considering that if you decide to use your personal or work email address when registering, remember that if you change federal employers or leave federal service, you may not always have access to your government email account. We recommend you use your personal email address so that you can access your account from anywhere. This email address will be used to send out notifications to you about forms you filed in e-com. After you've created a password and created your account, eComp will now send a message to your email address asking you to confirm your account registration. After you've created an account and confirmed registration, you will then be asked to verify your identity on the identity verification page. Review the information and click yes if it is correct. If the identity information is not correct, click no. You will then have the ability to review and edit the information and click next to proceed. Once your account has been verified, you may then log into eComp to view your dashboard. Your employee dashboard will now be displayed. A message at the top will indicate that your identity has been successfully verified. If you have any forms in draft status, that will be listed in the draft forms tab on the tape of the table. The action required tab shows if any actions are needed from you to continue your claims process. This will include returned forms, and if your action required tab is empty, there's nothing required from you at that time. All right. Um, After signing your eComp account with your email address and password, you will see your employee dashboard, which lists each existing injury/illness claim you have initiated, draft forms, and any current actions required of you. To file a new OSHA 301 form, click New Claim on the menu at the top right of the screen. Selecting the correct agency group. Using the drop-down menus, make selections for your department, agency group, agency, and duty station as applicable. After selecting the correct agency group, you will then need to file the OSHA 301 form. So why should you file an OSHA 301? The OSHA 301 is the Injury and Illness Incident Report. It is one of the first forms that should be filled out when a work-related injury or illness has occurred. The form helps the employer, specifically the safety department and OSHA, develop a picture of the extent and severity of the work-related incident. This form goes directly to the safety department. Therefore, the HR workers' compensation would not see this form. Once you complete this form, then you will have the option to file the CA1 or CA2 based on your specific injury. After you have entered all of the required information about your work-related injury or illness, you will then have the option to file the CA1 or CA2 based off your already completed OSHA 301. This slide consists of safety point of contacts. So for questions related to the OSHA 301 forms, please reach out to uh, the listed individuals or groups listed for a specific facility. All right, this is the workflow for ecom. You as the employee must file an OSHA 301 in order to file a CA1 traumatic injury claim or CA2 occupational disease claim. If you do not wish to file a CA1 or CA2 and only report the incident to safety, then you only need to file the OSHA 301. Above is an example of the ecom workflow. Um, Number one shows the process of filing the OSHA 301, which is routed to your supervisor for review, then sent to the OSHA records keeper, also safety, then also known as safety. Then that is the end of the OSHA 301 process. The second step shows the process after you have already filed the OSHA 301 and then elect to file the CA1 or CA2 for OWCP benefits. The CA1, CA2 is routed to the supervisor again for review, then sent to the agency reviewer. And our agency is the HR specialist for workers' compensation. Then the AR will route the CA1 or CA2 to OWCP to create and assign a 9-digit claim number. To claim benefits for lost wages, you must file a CA1, CA2, which we'll go over in the next few slides.
I think
Tony,
this is where I
did you
will
want to
continue.
pick up
Yep.
or okay?
Yep, I
Okay.
can continue on. Okay, so then eComp will give you the option to select which form and explain the differences between the two, as we just discussed earlier in the presentation, the CA1 or the CA2. You will then select the appropriate form based on your work injury or illness. Um, and then the next slide, we're going to go over claim filing for COVID 19. So you want to take note of the change in the claims filing process for COVID 19 diagnosed after January 27th, 2023. Effective January 27th, if there is not a clear incident over a single work shift for you to identify your diagnosis of COVID 19, a Form CA2 should be used. Form CA1 would be used if an event alleged to have caused the diagnosed COVID 19 is identified as to a time and a place of the occurrence. So now we will continue on to the filing of a CA1 or CA2 in eComp. You will then be required to enter your demographic information. So some of the information you previously entered on the OSHA 301, it will pull over to the CA1 or CA2. So on the next slide, your supervisor's email address must be entered for them to review and provide additional information as needed. You'll want to provide as much information about the place, time, the date where the injury occurred, as well as describing the cause of injury and the nature of injury with as much detail as possible. So this will help Department of Labor get a full picture of the specific injury or illness. Next, you'll want to upload any attachments that you wish to submit in support of your claim, such as statements by you or a witness, any medical reports if you've already been treated, or if you're filing a COVID 19 claim, you'll want to upload your positive lab test results. So, to upload a document, choose the file. Choose a file button and select any document saved on your computer that you'd want to upload. So please note you're not required to upload any documents at the time. You can upload them at a later time, so you will still be able to file your claim and proceed to the next section. So finally, you must indicate whether you want to claim either continuation of pay or sick and annual leave for any disability resulting from your injury. COP is a paid leave category under workers' compensation for a disability related to your traumatic injury. Please note that CA1 traumatic injury claims are eligible for COP, and your CA1 claim must be filed within 30 days of your date of injury in order to be eligible. And you must also have supported medical documentation to receive COP. After making your selection and reading the displayed certification and authorization statements, you'll click Sign and File, the I agree button, and submit your claim. You must agree with the displayed statement in order to proceed. So on the next screen, you'll see a confirmation message displayed notifying you that your claim has been forwarded to your supervisor for review. The ECOMP control number or ECN number assigned to your claim is also displayed. This may be used in tracking your claim, but you'll want to note that the ECN number is not your OWCP claim number. The ECN number is actually tied to the OSHA 301 form that safety manages. So you may also want to save your PDF of the CA1 using the Get PDF buttons. So on the next slide, it's an updated employee dashboard that will show all the claims filed as well as the OSHA 301 form. So as mentioned, an email message will be sent to your supervisor by eComp advising that your claim requires review. After your supervisor has reviewed the claim, it will be forwarded to the agency reviewer, which is the assigned human resource specialist for your case. The AR will perform a final review of the claim and forward it to OWCP for creation, and a case number will be assigned at that time. The AR will also contact you and your supervisor to obtain additional information if needed. So the next slide, we have included a list of references, which include eComp user guides, OWCP frequently asked questions, basic information on new claims, and a link to the FECA bulletin for claims related to COVID-19. There's also our workers' compensation team email address, as well as the VISN 8 Human Resources Information Hub. Once again, if you have any case specific questions, maybe you had a claim, please reach out to our email group and we'll let you know who your assigned specialist is, and we can answer those specific questions at that time. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time and attendance today.